process. Wonderful. So welcome to the Rise of Virtual Cheese Awards 2025, showcasing the very best of British cheeses. My name's Cara and I'm the moderator for this session. And today we are going to be judging class F8, which is our goat's milk hard. I am joined today by two fantastic judges I'm really delighted to be moderating with, who I'm going to let introduce themselves to you. We'll start with you, Kerry.
Hi, I'm Kerry Cryer of Brinkworth Dairy. Great-grandfather started milking here in 1910 and I started cheese making in 2006 here. I judge at the International Cheese Awards, the Global Cheese Awards, and I've pushed my way into this very prestigious event of being allowed to judge at the Virtual Cheese Awards. This is my second year judging here. Thanks for having me.
Very welcome. And over to the lovely David.
Hello, thank you. My name is Daniel David. I'm Managing Director of Blasad Fwyd. We are a specialist delicatessen wholesaler operating in Wales and the borders, and we've been championing Welsh cheeses and real cheeses for the last 38 years. Just love to be a judge here. I judge in the Royal Welsh Show and I judge cheeses at the World Cheese Awards, and I'm also a wine judge.
We're joined now by the lovely Sarah DeWitt as well. So, hello, Sarah.
Hello, everybody.
Just about to kick off. Just about to kick off. Okay, so welcome, judges. Thank you again so much for joining us today and for what I know will be amazing feedback. So the judges will be using a point system for scoring against 4 different attributes. We're going to start with appearance, then aroma, texture, and finally flavour. And the winner will be the cheese with the most points, and we'll go through and forward to our category stage finals on Tuesday, the 10th of June, and they will be filmed live. Okie dokie. So we will start with the first cheese, which is F81017. Kerry's very kindly holding it up, but it's very bright, Kerry's, with the sun on it. So, look at that.
Shape-wise, yeah, you've got a nice smooth circular shape on the edge here, and then a flat top and bottom with a natural rind. Very uniform paste there, a little bit golden in colour. Just inside the rind, particularly on one edge, that's got quite a dark darkening on one edge along there. Other than that, looks fab.
Yes. Here's my cheese. Maybe the lighting is different here. Again, as Kerry mentioned, we've got a really good rind. There's one sort of crack on the very rear of it for me. And yes, there's a darkening breakdown just inside the rind, and the paste looks just a little bit darker than we normally expect with a white goat's cheese.
Yes, I was surprised at the colour, that it is quite a little bit more creamy and golden than I was expecting.
Still looks a fabulous cheese.
Yeah.
Do we want to rate the look of it then, guys?
Where do we go? This is where we learn how mean each of us are.
Yes. Well,
who's the strict judge? Who's the nice judge?
I'm actually looking forward to tasting this cheese. It's a cheese with it looks a characterful cheese. So there's nothing untowards there for me. So I'm fairly high, really. I'm at 8 or.
Yay! I had 8 fingers up.
Good. Okay. Well, that was an easy start then.
I'm going to say that's a brilliant start. If we'd gone bang in there.
Yeah, lots of
together.
Let's give it a sniff now.
Sniff away.
I've kept my cheeses out of refrigeration for about an hour and a half to make sure that they're at peak tasting, really. But this is a very mild nose on this cheese.
Yeah, it's delicate.
Yeah,
a little bit of an acid smell on the paste, and I was expecting more of a musty aroma given the looks of the cheese, but there's not much strength coming from the rind either.
No, and I think that there might, not too sure if it's an oiled rind, so that would mask it.
Right, a small, like really subtle, like petrichor, like the earth, smell of the earth after it's just rained. Very
Yeah,
subtle smell.
yeah. But quite a clean smell otherwise.
Yeah. And no faults to the smell.
No.
So
Go
would you
straight in there with the score then?
So no faults at all. It is as it is.
It's
The look 7.5.
well, I've got nothing wrong with 8 again here.
Okay,
to be
yeah,
honest.
8 it is. Yeah.
But I'm glad you said 7.5 because at least that gives us the option to go into fractions.
I've been known to go to
Small as you like.
7.25 at one juncture, so don't worry about that. We'll get there.
And when I cut it, I've got a separation of the rind coming off
Okay.
a bit. What might that indicate about the how the cheese is looked after?
That's some sort of wrap. And then there's the smell there is
Yeah, so more aroma when we get the wrap off.
much more aroma, but it's still, as you said, it's the same smell, and it's what
And
we expect.
mustiness.
Yeah, but it's what we expect. I mean, that's a pretty aged rind. That's good.
It's quite pliable and smooth.
I've cut the length of the cheese, and it's quite pasty on the nose, and still quite soft, right to the breakdown on the rind as well, actually.
Yeah, I'll cut it that way as well.
There's a nice crumbliness in that texture at the rind.
It's almost rubbery.
Yes, and in the mouth there's a rubberiness to it in the mouth as well when you're tasting the nose.
Yeah, like perhaps fudgy in texture.
Yeah. There's a nice dryness in the texture as well.
I think it's delightful on texture.
Yeah, me too. And because of the variety of textures that you've got along the length of this, and it is a nicely aged cheese, I'd go a bit higher on the texture. I'd
be really happy with 9.
Yep, agreed.
Fantastic, guys. Thank you. And then finally, we're going to move on to flavour.
I like to taste along the length of the cheese. More earthy towards the rind, but really clean lactic sort of flavors.
Yeah, a little bit acid.
Aged lactic flavors on the nose of the cheese.
Yeah.
Good spectrum of flavors. A touch buttery sometimes as well.
Yeah.
That's a good cheese. I like that the acidity and when you're swallowing the cheese. There's nice age to that, but that could go on for quite some time, maturing as well.
Yeah, and it also has a nice length of flavor. I've stopped eating it. I can still taste it, still taste it, still taste it, still taste it. I think it's delightful.
Great.
I'm pretty high on that one.
Yeah. I mean, would you go 9 for that?
I'm happy to go 9 on that.
Rest of this cheese, yeah.
Yeah.
Throughout, I always say to people, if you want to make a note of this, and then if you want to change your minds at a later stage and go back, we can always do that.
Okay.
But thank you.
I'm eating all the scraps. It's great.
You can eat all of it when we're done. All right, so thank you for that. We will move on to cheese number 2, which is F81019, please.
So different shape here. On my cheese, so this would have been a cylinder, perhaps the whole cylinder weighing about 250 grams, maybe 225 grams. On my cylinder, it's got the corners, the edges have been all trimmed off, and I don't know why that is.
Yes, similarly here, I can, maybe you can see that.
Yeah.
They've been
I don't know if
trimmed on
there was a
both.
fault with there that they've cut off, or I'm not sure why that would be.
And it's been cut off quite roughly, really.
I'm rushing ahead and smelling it already. I'm
Okay,
not sure why that's cut off.
Anya, would you mind showing the outside of yours a little bit more? It's just the color. Your screen is a little too bright, Kerry. We can't actually detect it as well as we can on Danielle's.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
So not sure why that's been cut off. I don't know if that detracts from appearance or not. I don't know what was there that's been cut away.
It does detract because we're not seeing the full picture, really, are we?
So on the top and bottom surface, it's got the diamond-shaped lines, perhaps from where it's been drained, which is interesting. It's a natural mold on the outside again. There's grey, some kind of creamy color as well, and it's sort of slightly wrinkled, a little bit in and out, not entirely smooth. But I think, yeah, perhaps take off a little bit of a mark or something for why is this bit all cut off around the edge.
Yes, because there's no other faults on the rind at all. It looks
Right.
very appealing in all aspects. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is just a touch perplexing why the two corner edges have been taken away.
Looking at the paste, we've got more of a colour in line with what we would expect to see for a goat's cheese. It's a bit paler again, a bit more ivory, bright ivory in colour. There's some openings in there, some small holes, fairly uniform.
Yes, and you've got a breakdown in colour towards the rind as well. It almost goes from that ivory into translucence.
Nice halo.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. I'm
Yes.
excited to get onto the aroma with this one. So what should we score this one on appearance? Do we go for a 7?
7's fine.
Okay.
Just because we're not seeing the whole cheese.
Yeah. Good job. Okay, let's have a sniff. Oh,
I'm going to cut mine to get some fresh smell of it, actually.
I get quite a lot of sharpness straight away. Acid.
Yeah.
Rubbery, Wellingtons.
I haven't eaten Wellingtons recently.
Do you know, I'm actually wearing Wellingtons right now. In case you get peckish.
Thank you. There's nothing detracting from the cheese on the smell for me. It's a clean smell and the acidity's there. Looking forward for the next stage, really, to be honest.
A little bit grassy on the smell. Oh, hang on, sorry. I've balanced my computer on top of my speakers and the speakers just went funny then. Okay. Right, so for aroma, would you say an 8 on this?
8 is okay.
It's
There's nothing really
giving
wrong.
us information as
Yeah.
well. We're getting something from it, so I'm happy with 8. Onto texture. Oh, it's so smooth.
Yeah.
It cuts beautifully. It's like butter.
Yeah, there's no crumbliness at all in cutting. I'm using a very thin knife for cutting it, and it's just finding it very easy. There's no residual cheese left on the knife at all.
Yeah, same here.
But tearing the cheese, you can see the curds have just settled in a fairly natural way, shall we say,
Yeah,
just on
yeah,
its on
keep
its
that
on
raggedy
its
look.
weight.
Yeah.
And when you press the cheese, it still crumbles out a touch, but with a certain amount of rubberiness there. So that feels like a really good blend.
Mhm. Very smooth.
Yeah.
And mouth texture. In the mouth, it's drier than I was expecting.
Yes, it's quite dry, isn't it?
With some like separate grainy parts.
Especially near the rind. In the middle of the cheese, it's a lovely soft taste there. That's scoring quite highly for me as well.
It's going to be a tough class to call differences between the cheeses, isn't it?
It is, because when we were unpacking them, we were just getting excited by the look of every one of the cheeses. This is a tough class.
Yeah.
The
So
texture, guys.
on the texture, what would we score on texture?
I like the variety of textures in there. I think it's a really nicely made cheese. I like the aging of it as well.
The what on it, sorry?
The
Aging.
aging. So the difference in textures from the breakdown just within the rind being quite crumbly and to the paste at the very center of the cheese. So I'm going pretty high, 9.
Well, for me, I didn't find the unexpected dryness as appealing as other cheeses. May I make it an 8.5, Danielle?
That's fine.
He's holding it against me though.
We
Okay,
now
you're going to
know
get me later.
we now know who's the mean one.
Okay, meanie over here. Now we can do the flavor.
Yes, please, guys.
Well, in checking the texture, I did go into the flavor in there, and I really like that bright acidity at the center of the cheese.
Yeah, it's quite sharp.
Mm.
It was making my mouth water.
Yes, you should be jealous, I think.
I am.
There's a touch of over saltiness in it.
Only slightly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Quite lactic.
Mm-hmm.
Very clean. Yeah, no hints of goatiness or anything. It's just
No hint of goatiness.
no. It's just the
7.5.
taste.
Hey, I'm going to push you.
Where are you at, Danielle?
High 8, I think.
Okay, we'll go for 8 then. Right.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. Moving on to the next one, which is F81020.
I'm going to do a palate cleanse with our sponsors biscuits.
Thank you.
So I'm
I'll
going to
put
do
it
the
there.
charcoal one.
It blurs out, I'm afraid.
There we go, charcoal one.
Are
I'm gonna-
amazing biscuits,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
crackers.
F81020.
Correct. Ooh,
Now this has a slightly sticky rind to it.
Yeah. It might have had the hard work of being vacuum packed, and I bet if it, if you were buying it straight from the cheese maker
Yeah.
or straight from the deli counter, I don't think you'd have had that suffering of it being vacuum packed. I've also got quite a lot of red colouring in the paste down here, some red dots. Have you got any redness down there?
Yes, I have, and peculiarly, the 2 corners of the cheese have also been cut off on this one.
Maybe it's the same
So-
maker who doesn't like corners.
Yeah. cutting corners, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's peculiar. Uh,
It's
quite
fairly open textured with crack. I got some cracking there, so I guess it's a little bit of a crumbly cheese.
yes, but it's quite soft just within the rind.
Yeah. Always my favorite bit of the cheese, just inside the rind.
Yeah,
I love
but
that
it's
protein breakdown.
sticky
Yeah.
and soft on top, and it's
We're almost
firmer
going
at
to
the
need to
bottom of the
wash our
cheese.
hands after this cheese because it's sticking to our fingers so much.
Yeah,
The colouring on the outside, we've got white, like a pale straw yellow, a tiny amount of black. I don't know. What do you think that red coloration is in the paste though?
it could be naturally occurring in the maturing room.
Yeah.
I used to be able to go into our cheese rooms and collect in the day a Llangolfan or a Llanboidi just by smell, because you could smell the dairies and the dairies are different. Yes, the rind doesn't look quite as well made. I've got a slit across the top
Yeah,
there.
I've got a crack, and then that
Yeah,
leads into some of the red ingress here.
yeah.
And then again, having the corners cut off,
Whoops.
we're not able to see the whole cheese. That's a shame.
No, and I don't know if you can see that, but there's an indentation on the back of the cheese, so it doesn't feel fully round.
Yeah, I think if you looked at that in the shop and you were deciding what was I going to buy, I think it wouldn't be the appearance that is the puller on that one.
No.
The color of it, the white color, very pale, like we'd expect with the goat's cheeses.
Yes, and I like to see that breakdown just within the
Yeah,
rind as well,
that's going to
because
be absolutely delicious just in
yes, it
there.
is. Yes.
Yeah. So we're excited about the protein breakdown. We like the color. For scores wise, would we go
And
7,
between
6?
Yeah, no, seven is a touch generous. I was between 6.5 and 7, but I'll happily go with 7 because
No,
it is,
no,
after all, an aged cheese,
yeah,
and the skill needed to reach a cheese to be presented like this with
yeah,
time is
yeah,
a tough job.
yeah. So I'm also happy with 6.5.
We'll go 7. Don't be
Okay.
too.
You've taken on the mantle of being the kind guy. Okay, 6.5. Now we need to give it a sniff. And I'm just going to be able to sniff my hands because so much of it will have attached there with that stickiness coming off.
Yeah, I'm going to cut the cheese down the middle to be able to smell the fresh cut cheese as well.
This is cute. Just outside my windows, my cows are coming in to be milked. Watching what I'm doing.
So 12 months from now, we'll have an aged. Yeah, the cheese itself smells very clean. And the paste, now that the effect of vacuum packing has gone, the paste looks much more interesting.
Yeah, having cut it, the paste is nicer looks wise. On aroma, even from the inside, it's almost still like a plasticine smell to me.
What do you smell? Sorry.
Plasticine.
Yeah. It's not as exciting a smell as we'd have expected, I suppose. And the
A little bit
rind,
sour,
yeah,
would you say?
yes,
Yeah.
especially on the rind, yeah. So, score, I'm around the 7 on this one again.
That is 6.75.
There's bargaining chips.
Got to make the math tricky for Cara.
Gee, thanks. Are we going for 6.75, guys?
I'm unsure I could go down that low, to be honest.
7 then, at 7. Okay, 7.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we've got texture.
Yes,
And
please.
Danielle's already pointed out the wonderful protein breakdown just inside the rind. So that's our bit of texture we're excited about. And it's fairly crumbly and open in the texture. Quite even as well. So just on texture, not in the mouth, is very good. And let's have the mouthfeel texture.
Mouthfeel texture was not what I expected. Seeing the crumbly nature of this, it turns into it goes into a sludgy paste almost immediately.
It melts in your mouth, kind of. It dissolves in your mouth. And let's try and get some of that right by the rind bit we were looking forward to.
Well, I'm going to eat.
Can you hear my cows?
Yes, we can. Yes, that's lovely. Well, I'll leave that for the next one.
But
But
all I've got from you in terms of mouthfeel is melt in the mouth.
It is melt in the mouth, but it turns into a paste almost immediately, which was quite surprising, really. But it's not unpleasant. As soon as you get used to that, it's...
So yeah, there's something very
mouth
interesting
covers.
going on with the texture. That's good.
Yes.
Hey,
So we can
have a
go
score
higher on the
then.
texture with an 8, would you think?
Yeah, 8 is fine. 8
Okay,
is
good. And then taste-wise, I find this is almost astringent to me. It's almost very, very strong on the tongue. Have you eaten any of the rind yet, Daniel?
Yes, I have. I quite like that, actually.
Well, that just shows there's a cheese for everyone.
I like the ripeness just on the rind and inside. Find that quite fruity there.
Fruity, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, fruity it is. It's quite intensely piquant.
It is. Wow. I like a nice glass of Manzanilla with that because it.
Yeah, it's a cheese that could tolerate having pairing partners that are also very strong as well. It's quite a robust taste. It will stand up to taking a lot with it.
Yes. There's almost and it's very long taste at the end of it as well. It stays and it turns almost almondy as it lingers there. On the rind as well, you do have a little prickliness of acid.
Yeah.
I quite like the variety of flavors I'm getting there. And I understand it's not going to be to everybody's taste.
I'd like you to judge it on yours.
On this one, I'd go for 8.5. I'd be revisiting this cheese again. It's
this cheese, I find it quite soapy and astringent, and I would have actually been going quite low on the taste. What's the highest I could cope with this one? How high did you go? 8.5?
8.5, yeah. Because I like the variety of flavors and I like the uniqueness of it, really.
It is unique, but I would say it's not a cheese that suits my taste profile. So perhaps an 8 then.
I can live with that. That's fine. Yeah,
That's fair, guys,
I'll be fine
considering.
I have a pretty wide enjoyment of huge number of flavors.
Yeah.
So we stock 1,500 wines here. So they're not going to suit everybody. But
no, I'm more delicate. There we go.
Go back to your cows.
Yes. So that was that F8 1020?
That was F8 1020. We're going to move on to F8 1038.
Okay. Oh, let's tidy up here. Look at the color and smoothness on that, if you can in my bright light.
Yeah, so it's still quite hard for us to see that on your camera, Harry, because it's so bright, but
Make you
coming
laugh.
through very well on Daniel's.
I've got daylight lighting in here, supposedly.
We're able
But
to
I
see
won't,
the rind a little bit as well.
yeah. But then I'm going to turn it over on the other side because right in the middle, can you see that?
There's
There's a blob of mold right smack in the middle.
oh. Do you know, maybe mine's on the same piece. I've got a little bit of brown.
Yeah, it's just, and it just looks peculiar because there are various holes in the cheese and they're all empty. The way's totally gone out. But on that one, there's just, I hope that you can see it. I mean, as soon as I unwrapped it, I saw it, I thought, I'm not going to touch that.
And is it part of the cheese or is it something that's just adhered to the cheese? Yeah, it is because you can see the white bit around it.
Yes, because it's
Yeah.
affected the maturation of the
Yeah.
milk around that. So I'm going to cut into it just to explore further.
Yeah. I was really excited to see how smooth it is, how uniform it is in color. I can see a little bit of shininess in some of the holes. It sort of looks very innocent, really. The mold is on the outside is very pale colored, natural rind. It looks sort of like a virgin sort of cheese.
Yes, it's an exciting looking cheese, and it's a cheese that you'd certainly want to buy. That piece of mold was just a piece of mold. There was just nothing else in there. So how that developed, how it didn't spread, I don't know. The breakdown again shows good aging here, and the cheese it goes almost to this bruised look within the rind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks great. Are you happy with a 9?
Well, that touch of mold in there will bring it down for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Do you want an 8.5?
that mold shouldn't have been in there.
Do you want an 8?
I want an 8.
Okie dokie. So my little bit of brown was just something that had picked up elsewhere. It wasn't part of the cheese. So that is
Yeah.
just unfortunate you got that one there. Okay, so we're going for 8. Next, we've got to sniff it.
Oh,
Very subtle.
yes, but it's almost malty, isn't it?
I'm gonna warm it a little bit to see if I can pick up some malt flavors. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice. Very, I mean, subtle, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
really very pleasant.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Very clean smell, other than that. Appealing as well.
And then, as you'd expect on the natural rind, just a little bit of mustiness, mushroominess, earthiness on there.
Yeah, it's what we expect, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so very pleasant aroma, subtle, pleasant aroma.
Happy to go with, yeah, happy. Well, yes, it was very high 80s, 8.5.
Yeah,
so
good. Texture.
Viable. Yes, but trying to make a ball out of it, it doesn't stick to itself. So it crumble. It's not even crumbly. It feels, the paste feels rubbery, but then it doesn't really cling to itself after breaking. You're still making a ball there?
Yeah, I can make a model goat for you. A headless goat. And then in the mouth.
A good bite on it. It cuts cleanly. I like the mouthfeel on that.
Isn't it fun how much variety there is? This is all hard goat's cheese. I don't think we've had the same mouthfeel for any of them.
No,
They're just
totally
absolutely
different.
brilliant. Well done, everybody, for getting such variety.
Explain a little more about the mouthfeel, guys. As far as we've got a bit of bite to it.
A
Is it?
good bite. It just cuts nicely on your teeth, releasing the flavors, which we'll get into later. I've got great texture in the cheese itself. I like the fact that how it doesn't really ball. It's dry crumb when I break it up. That's a high score for texture for me.
And then in the
Because
mouth, it breaks down into very, very small grains.
yes,
Yeah.
but it isn't really grainy as
No.
such, is it?
No.
9
on texture.
Yeah, 9 is
Happy.
well deserved 9.
I mean, whatever the flavor it is subtle, but very pleasant.
Yes, it's almost like a continental mountain cheese.
Yes, yes. Let's be in the Alps.
Now, again, there's a certain fruitness to this one, but quite different to the other cheese.
What kind of fruit is it?
Well,
It's all quite subtle.
it is, yes. It's certainly not appley, but we are talking warmer than apples, but it's not almost a faint pear sort of flavor, really. Or russet. It's
because there is sweetness.
yes.
Brilliant. What are we going to give it?
It's not strong. And in that
Well,
way, you might think, oh, it's
doesn't
not
have to
exciting,
be.
so it shouldn't score high, but it's really pleasant. I'm happy to go high on this.
so am I. My only surprise is that it's not stronger than it is. So I'm just going to taste some of the breakdown.
When you speak to somebody who says, "Oh, I don't eat goat's cheese," don't give me goat's cheese, and then you give them this.
Well, they wouldn't even know. But seriously, this is very, very well made cheese. Great texture, great flavor.
Yeah.
I'm high on the flavor as well. 9.
Yep. Happy with that.
9, yeah.
Wow, guys, you're not going to make this easy for me.
No, we're judges. We're not here to make life easy.
I know.
I'll make it cheesy, not easy.
I love it. That's my quote of the day. Right, F81094, please, guys.
Here we go.
Ooh. I'm excited to do the aroma on this one.
It's a long wedge, basically.
Must be a massive cheese, the whole cheese. This is what,
Yeah.
There's some strong people lugging these bits of cheese around.
I'm not too sure if it comes from a truckle. I think it might be a cut because it's not.
I think it comes from a truckle because it is curved there, isn't it?
It's very faint curve.
But it's
You can
massive.
just about
I'm
see it
imagining
on
a massive
Kerry's.
circle. Sorry?
I said you can just about see the curve on yours.
Yeah. I'm imagining a huge circle, so the curve is very, very small.
Yeah.
People even stronger than me carrying this cheese around. It's ever so uniform. There are no gaps in the curd. There's
there's no rind to it. It's just smooth cheese paste, top to bottom, front to back.
I've got a small amount of mold on the rind there.
Just a touch of orange on the
I've got
back.
orange and black.
Yeah, just a touch.
And this is just incredibly uniform. You
can see the cracks where the whey left the curds. So it's sort of faint. I don't know if you can see there.
Good eyesight.
I've got glasses. Yeah. Nothing
How are we
wrong
going
with the
to give it
appearance.
on appearance then, guys?
Um,
Quite difficult.
There's no imperfections.
no.
Um,
And to get the length of cheese to look like that consistently shows some good cheese making techniques.
yes, yes. So we can go high.
Yes, we can.
We can go
Just a
9,
touch.
8.5. Where are you thinking?
Well, the thing that detracts for me is the characterness of the cheese. It lacks a touch of character because there is no identifiable rind, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. This is the difference between, I've noticed this when you judge at the big events, and there's me, the artisan cheesemaker, and I'm excited by the differences and
Yeah.
the things that stand out. And judging with the guys that come from big industry and they're looking for something that's very standard and true to type and nothing
Yeah.
sticking out at all. And
Yeah.
so we make great judge pairings, because we're looking, we're looking for different things. It's balanced. But this is the cheese that probably the big guys and the big dairies would say, yeah, that's what we want. We'll sell a load of that.
Yeah.
I know I can sell the same portion every single time in the supermarket. Customers know what they're getting. But for us little artisan guys, we're like, oh, but where's the excitement? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm around 8.5, I suppose.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
I think
Okay.
that's highest score on appearance you've given so far, guys.
Oh, so we do like
Well, yes, yeah, but it's
we have had
because
we've had issues on the appearance on the others. We've had the edges cut off, so we haven't been able to judge the whole cheese.
no.
Going back to the very first one,
Well,
We're not
maybe
comparing
that one higher. We'll have to have a look.
either. All I'm saying is, from the small artisan guys, you've given it a great score.
yes, but because there's no faults there.
Yeah.
That's the difficulty. And once the artisan cheese is at cutting edges, that's a problem. And if you're making a cheese as an artisan, it's so difficult to get a perfect score because you are going to get some problems on your rind.
Yeah. Okay. It's not a strong smelling cheese in the main paste of the cheese. A bit grassy maybe. And then where the stronger smell comes in would be on the rind, and that's where the mustiness is.
Yeah.
The nutty smell.
Yes, nutty and lactic. When you break the cheese to get the fresh cut sort of smell.
Wow.
Yeah. Almost floral there, isn't it? And as you say, that mustiness from the end, you can just get a hint of that on the cheese as well.
Okay, so aroma wise, nothing unpleasant. 8.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Good. Okay, texture next. Ooh, and bend it that much before it breaks.
Yeah, it does break, and it breaks into nice craggy sort of cheese, but it feels quite soft, doesn't it?
Balls up very easily, so great for modeling things out of cheese.
There we are. That looks like a goat as well.
That's my ball. Hang on.
It breaks.
Do a headless goat again. Hang on. So it makes a great headless goat.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
2 legs, that's fine.
Is that not a cow?
No, it's goat's cheese, so it's a goat. Hang on.
Yeah.
There we go. It's got a head now. Right, you go there.
In terms of texture, it breaks in fissures.
Yep. Lack of differentiation of texture between the nose and the rind, I think.
Or you could say consistent texture throughout if we're being lovely and cuddly judges.
Yeah, but I like to see differences between, because it would be natural to have differences between the rind and the centre that hasn't had time to ripen as much. So
Texture itself.
Hmm?
The texture itself.
It's smooth in the mouth. Dissolves quite slowly.
Yes, it's quite a slow breakdown in the mouth.
Do you want a 7.5 for texture?
I think that's generous, actually.
7?
7, yeah.
Okie dokes.
Yeah.
And finally, the biggie, the most important thing, flavor.
Always.
We rate our scores.
Dryness in the mouth there. There's some piquancy there as well. Quite lactic.
Yeah, lactic. Oh, I just had a bit that had with the rind on. That was quite exciting to get a bit of variation when I wasn't expecting it.
I'll copy you.
Flavors are coming from the rind, guys.
More fruitiness. That's actually been the most interesting part of the flavour.
Yeah.
I'd like a little bit more rind, really. On the whole, it's not such an exciting flavour. It's cheese, it's ghost cheese, but I'm not rushing out to repurchase that.
Yeah, but I mean,
give
but it could carry lots of things on a cheese board. You know, if I had say some quince cheese with it, you know, something like that, it could go with lots of things nicely. So in that way, it might be nice on a cheese board to go with all of the other lovely things you can put on there as well.
I'd probably use this cheese more in a salad or something like that. It's a good lunchtime cheese. Yeah.
Flavor wise, are we doing a 7?
Yeah, 7. Yeah, just a little bit out of it there.
Guys, well done. We are halfway through this class. We're going on to F8 1096.
So we have no rind on this cheese. Oh, hang on. What's that? I've got one edge that's got little lines on it. So maybe that could have been an edge where the cheese was drained on.
Yeah, I don't know if it's possible to see, but it looks like yeah, that's the markings from draining, but it's only on one side, as you say.
There's no
square block, well,
there's
rectangular block.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard not to do everything at once, isn't it? Hard not to stiff texture and taste it all in one go.
Yeah.
So back to the appearance. I'll do a cut.
Well, the draining side seems to be quite shiny.
Yep.
And quite firm there as well. Looks very, very uniform.
Yep.
Some minor
small holes.
Yeah, minor almost cracks rather than holes, haven't they?
8 on appearance.
Yeah, that's fine. Craggy.
Okay, moving on, give it a whiff.
Ooh. Almost brioche.
Some emails and messages and everything regarding the Gullivan.
I didn't expect that, Lowe's, really.
Yeah, I was. That's been Paul. See
almost a
about the
milk bun.
So I got the prices.
I couldn't help but eat some. I'm excited.
Yeah.
From somebody.
Oh, we've still got to do the aroma score.
Okay.
That's a very pleasant aroma. So Well, 8.5, sorry.
Yes, 8.5. Yep,
Yeah.
good. Okay, texture. Yeah, you can see the, or can you see on my camera? When
Sorry,
you
guys, was that an 8 or an 8.5? I know you're wanting to get in and chomp on it, but Aroma, was it 8 or 8.5? It's just because the scores are so close on
Yeah,
this one.
I think we said 8.5.
Yeah, happy with that because you've got the interest there.
Yes, right.
With the texture, when I tear it open, you can see the bobbliness of the individual bits of curd there.
Yeah, that makes it much more interesting once you cut it.
Yeah.
That
Well,
looks like a
we
really
do
interesting cheese, and it looks like a
Yeah.
well-made cheese.
Um,
And I like the rip on it as well, really.
Yeah.
So doing some orders to explain some who's the third is
Mouth texture.
that's going to be complicated. Or it might go to mistakes, which you don't want to make mistakes with.
Very initially rubbery, but that breaks away straight away.
So
And then turns
And
into a
dissolves
lovely,
and melts.
yeah, good chewiness about it.
I really like this texture.
Me too. It's quite an exciting for a square block of cheese that started life like that. Is actually really impressive.
Yeah, yeah. You want to eat this cheese.
I'm
So
not sharing.
yeah,
Um,
come on, Daniel. You've
well,
got
we talked
20
about my
cheeses. You can share.
they're queuing up to share with me afterwards.
So
Lots of people.
8.5.
Oh, yes, I'll agree with you there. I was at least that.
9 then.
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
I got
yeah.
my way.
Oh,
Thank you.
easy, guys, you're getting generous here.
We're
It's a
getting
good.
cheese.
It's a good cheese.
Cara,
I
we're
can
getting cheese
tell.
drunk. We're enjoying the cheese more and getting carried away. So for our flavour, it is really pleasant. It's lovely.
Yes, it's
I hate
rich.
that word. What does that mean?
It's yeah, it's a bit of a bland word, isn't it? This is a rich goat's cheese. This is good flavor profile.
Really well balanced. A little bit of
Mm.
sweetness, a tiny amount of umami. It doesn't have much length to it. You know, it's quite clean. The flavour stops fairly quickly, but that's fine. I've got 200 grams here. I'll just keep eating it.
So you're not sharing either. There we are.
Yeah.
8.5.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like this cheese.
Me too.
Okay, goodbye. 10.96. And hello. 10.97.
Right, guys, I'm still tapping away here. What did we give it? 8.5 for flavour?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm going to keep eating it as well while I wait for you to finish tapping.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next one is F81097, please.
And this is
Very
how it
similar
looks.
shaped cheese.
But he's
But this one's I've got a corner edge here now. So
Oh.
this I've got a rounded corner there. So
It's like being a detective and trying to work out how the cheese was made all the way through. I've got one that's the same as before, with on the short edge, it's where it's got the drainage markings.
okay.
This one, I think I can see a little bit more color differentiation slightly, or was I imagining it, between the rind and the cheese? It's subtle.
It is subtle, yeah.
Mine,
There's a few patches of extra shininess on it. So it seems to signify that it might be a little bit more mature.
Is there wetness coming out of yours? You might have dried off yours, like had yours out of the backpack earlier than me.
Yeah, no, there's no liquid here.
I'm thinking of changing.
But those shininess might have been previous liquids.
On the rind, I've got little white dots. Have you? Tiny white dots, almost as if it's salty water that's evaporated away and left little bits of salt in there. Or it could be a penicillin.
No, there's none
No
on
white
here.
dots for you.
No.
Okay. So on appearance, it's very uniform in color again, bright white colored.
Here.
And the rind is also subtle, not present. Well, we can see where it was a drain, but it's the same color as the paste.
Yeah, and I've got the draining markings on two sides. So presumably there's four sides of draining on this cheese. Because they're not on opposite sides.
Yeah.
What do we want to give it?
No faults.
8.
Um,
Yeah.
to be consistent with the last cheese that we judged, I think it needs to be an 8.5.
Okay.
The last cheese you judged appearance, you gave it an 8.
Oh, sorry. Okay, then an 8 is fine. Thank you.
Although we're comparing, but in terms of
Yeah.
Benchmarking.
Benchmarking.
Aroma next.
Even
If I
more.
dare say fruitiness, will Cara promise not to push me for which fruit too quickly?
There's many a different kind of fruit. You could have grapefruit, you could have banana.
So yeah, so pear.
Maybe the rind of the pear.
Mm.
It's I get that
Pear drop?
brioche-ness again.
Pear drops.
They signify acid to me. I don't really smell.
I said, okay.
It doesn't promise me huge amounts of acid. Very clean smell.
I think that's what I can get from there. There's something to it. 8.
8 is fair. Yeah.
Okay. By texture, by cutting.
It feels a dense cheese, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A real smoothness when you ball it.
But a lovely cragginess when you break it as well.
Yeah.
You just rip it open. Yeah, this balls very well. But with bits flaking off, so not totally.
I have a little bit of a crunch in the mouth.
Yeah, there's a firm touch to that cheese, isn't it? That's good.
Mm. So
Good.
isolating just the texture and not the flavor could go high on that.
Yes, but it
all,
turns
all I've got
all-
so far, Guy, on the mouthfeel is a little crunch on the mouthfeel. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
when you carry on chewing it, it almost goes powdery. And that's from the dryness in the texture. Interesting.
You want to give it for texture?
Ooh, that's difficult. 8.5. How are
Yep,
you looking, Kerry?
Yeah, happy with that.
And finally, flavor, guys.
It's a little bit tangy, clean.
This is quite a mature cheese, isn't it? There's a dryness in the mouth.
Mm.
I like that tanginess.
Yeah, because it adds a little bit more complexity. And length then as well.
Yes. I'm trying to think of the people that would say no to ghost cheese. You couldn't really say no to this either, could you?
No, We also need to think of the people who would say yes to goat's cheese, and I think they would say yes to this as well.
Yes, they would.
Yeah.
Because
Fair point.
this is a good, mature goat's cheese.
Yeah, and you would be able to, you know, if you were teaching someone goat's cheese and wanting to educate them about goat's cheese, you could look at the color, and then there's very, very, very subtle flavors of the goat's milk there. So are we in 9? Are we in
Yeah,
8.5?
we are in 9, I think.
Okay.
Anybody would think that we've judged together before?
We haven't judged together before, have we?
Oh. No, but
I have a really bad memory. When you said we scored 8 on the last cheese, I was like, Jesus, how can you remember that? That was like 30 seconds ago.
My job. Right, so moving on to F81142, guys.
1142 looks like this.
Now we're back to interesting rhymes again.
Yes, but I've got a top or a bottom, and then so this is a big drum of cheese.
Yeah.
And you can see the indentations made by the cheese pan there as well.
Yeah.
So this is, and it's very difficult to judge if it's a wedge cheese, but the way that this has been cut seems to indicate that this is a very well made cheese. Now, for a large drum, that's very difficult to do.
Yeah,
So,
I like on these cheeses where you can see the marks that the cheesecloth has made as well.
yes.
That brings me joy. Mold colors on the outside, there's some speckles of black, some brown, some white, some yellow.
Yes,
some
good
gold.
variety of good variety of colors.
Yeah.
But it's quite clean looking as well. But
Yes.
apart from the cloth was right on the top there, and
Yeah,
you've got a little ridge.
bit of a squidge. Yeah. Maybe another turning and straightening out of the cloth would have fixed that. But you know,
Yes.
we're all very tired at the end of our cheese making days.
Yes, yeah, no, this is quite an exciting cheese. Appearance as well.
Appearance.
Yeah, paste you can see getting a little bit darker towards the rind from the white uniform cheese.
Where our intense flavor will be.
Yeah, and no faults between rind and paste. Just no faults.
Are we being cheese drunk if we give this a 9?
No, this deserves a 9.
Yay. Okie dokes. So that's
are we getting cheese drunk?
Oh, thanks for the reminder. I've got a glass of water, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, but you're also surrounded by bottles of wine, so you know I'm not going to feel sorry for you on this front.
Yeah. Daniel, I'm going to have to come and visit you, and you can come and teach me about wine tasting. In the meantime, let's go on to aroma.
All right.
I'm going to give it a cut. Daniel's tip to get the fresh aroma released.
Touch of mustiness on the rind, which what do we expect?
Yeah.
But it's clean as well.
The initial aroma on the paste when you first cut it is buttery.
Well, when you cut it, it's a lovely cut. Oh yes.
You ripped it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, think of all the surface areas that are giving the smell out of that now.
Yeah, so actually ripping it is a better way to release more of the aroma. I think mainly for the presentation, I've got a cheese moustache. Yeah.
That's how should I say? It's ripe, it's fruity, it's lactic, it's mellow.
Yeah.
It's just a lovely warming smell.
So 8.5?
Yeah, gotta be, isn't it?
Okay, so texture.
Well, you said that I ripped the cheese. It ripped so pleasantly. It didn't slide to the side. It just ripped comfortably
It's a
from
lovely
top to
jigsaw,
bottom.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice exercise to tear a cheese apart and then to picture all of those little grains of curd, and then,
Mm.
you know, they've all melded together now.
Rips nicely. The texture looks good on the cheese, and it turns the texture on the palate is turns to paste quite quickly.
Yeah, it's slightly fudgy.
Mm. I had expected a little bit more of a bite on it.
Because it does melt quite cleanly.
Yeah.
So for texture,
8.5.
yes. Now our wavelengths have synced up. We're lined up.
Very scary, folks.
Okay, flavor next.
Well, I've tasted from the middle of the cheese. Sorry, middle of the across the cheese. So I'm going to taste the nose now, and a bit of the rind. It's quite mellow. Quite clean. I like the fruitiness of the rind. That's really a pleasant cheese. We've used that word again. Sorry.
And
Can't
And
use
that
that word.
that mustiness of the rind almost lends itself turning into a nuttiness just inside the rind. I'll tell you which nuts in a minute, Cara. Hang on.
You mate.
Yes, it's sort
Almond?
of Brazil nut sort of flavors.
Yes, yes, well done.
There's no sharpness. It's very, very mellow. No acid.
No, I mean, I think if I were to eat all of the rind, that'd be too intense, but the paste is a delight.
Yeah.
And as such, I'd be happy with 8.759.
Well, make it mathematically easy at 9.
Okie dokie, no, Mr. Nice. This is exciting, isn't it?
Okay,
Favorite
we're moving
biscuits?
on to 1173 then.
Yeah. Look at this for something different.
Really different.
Orange.
It's on the paste as well, but I don't know whether that's from the
Yes,
cut
it
of
is.
the.
It has bled over the paste.
Yeah.
Um,
So from the colour, I thought that was going to be smoked, but I can't smell any smokiness to it at all.
it's the sort of correct color for paprika.
Be exciting to see what comes through when we're finally allowed to taste. I mean, there's not any strong smell of any spices. Anyway,
No.
back to the appearance. Well, that appearance is fun, isn't it? To think about having something bright orange with the bright white of the goat's milk. That's fun.
It is. It's a shame that it's bled down through it. Or was this cut
It's
from?
it's always so tricky with these things, isn't it? Think of these cheeses. They've had to go from the cheesemaker to a dairy, then they've got to have to then be packed into all different boxes, and then finally not get picked up, and then get picked up and sent out to us, and then finally come to us and we unwrap them. It is hard work for these cheeses to end up looking at their prime.
Are you suggesting that maybe they should have sent us both a whole cheese for us to cut them?
You haven't even tried it yet.
No, I know. But
So,
it does look quite exciting.
Yeah,
But
I
think it would be unfair to mark it down for the bleed.
Danielle, you could be right. It might be every time this cheese is cut that you do get that bleeding from the rind across the paste. And that would be a shame. So it's possible that happens with every single portion of this cheese. We don't quite know. Looking at the direction of the bleeding, it does look as if it is a knife that's dragged it. And when we cut open this cheese ourselves, we'll be able to see if we get that same dragging across happening as well. Perhaps then we can make more of a judgment about the appearance.
And there's quite a possibility that the dragging of the knife, that the knife has been used to cut the cheese previously.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
So-
gonna cut a slice and see what happens. Meanwhile, my fingers are very orange as well. And I expect my nose is going to go orange when I start sniffing.
I just cut this one right through,
Yeah.
and there's no bleeding whatsoever. So I think that it might have been a dirty knife.
Yeah,
I
same here.
multi cuts.
And look, oh, sorry, throwing cheese at my computer now. Look. Yeah, and putting orange fingerprints on it. I think it's a hard cheese to deal with because once you have handled it, then you have got orange on your fingerprints and that's going everywhere. But yeah, that initial cut with the orange on the outside, the white on the inside is good. So
Yes.
appearance wise, I don't know if you're not going to be knocking off just because of
No, I'm not.
that's cut. So
I'm
are
really
you going
not.
to go for a 9? Is something exciting for us?
It's a 9. Yes, that's fine, because when I look at the new cuts now, totally clean.
Yeah. And we haven't
Very
discussed the
tidy
paste
cheese.
much. Yeah, lovely bright white paste, very smooth, very uniform.
Yeah.
That's a 9. So looking at the aroma now, there's not much aroma there.
God, no, not on the rind and not on the paste.
And that's freshly cut as well. There's a small amount of very subtle lactic,
Yeah, that's
like
it.
very subtle, very delicate yogurt, like yogurt when you've added the culture and maybe it's been incubating for a few hours rather than 36 hours.
Yeah.
So
The
very subtle aroma.
Yeah, and nothing really on the rind. Almost looks like a port salut, doesn't it?
Oh, a Port Salut. Yeah. So what would you say with aroma? We're not getting anything. We're not getting anything bad, but we're not
Nothing
getting
bad.
much at all. So is that a 7.5?
Yeah, I think that's
Is,
fair. That's fair.
is that
yeah.
being too mean?
No, that's fine, because
Okay.
you need some aromas to excite the taste buds before it's part
Yeah.
of the process of eating and drinking, isn't
And
it?
we were excited by the color. Right, let's have a go on texture now. It just looks so smooth.
Yeah, ripping the cheese, and that's a rip. So it's still smooth, really.
Yeah.
Which is quite astonishing.
It is very soft, and we are in the hard goat's cheese judging category. This is
Almost semi-soft, isn't it?
this is semi-hard rather than hard. It might be tricky to judge this one as the winner of the hard category, given how soft it is.
Nope. The winner, it's the winner.
Sorry?
No, it's not soft.
No?
No.
It's how the maker enters it.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
consider it as hard.
Well, there's room for it to go harder. Let's leave it like that.
Except as judging it just as a delightful cheese, it is a lovely smooth texture to feel, a lovely smooth texture in the mouth as well.
Fantastic
Not
in the mouth.
hard, but yeah.
Texture, because of the interest in the mouth and the interest when I rip the cheese, I think it's about 8.5, or maybe down to an 8.
No, 8.5.
Yes.
Okay, flavor wise, I haven't been able to detect what the rind is yet. Have you?
I haven't tasted the rind yet, so I'll do that now.
You show a lot of restraint.
Yeah.
Like there might be a very subtle smokiness on the rind. Smoked paprika, maybe?
Could be, yeah, could be. But it is seriously subtle.
Mm.
Striking and looking at it, but you're not. Salt balance, it's a little bit heavy on it as well.
What's heavy?
salt balance.
Yes, yeah, yeah. It's not a blue cheese, so it doesn't need quite that much salt. And it's also still got a lot of moisture in it, so that should be counterbalancing the salt. So there is quite a lot of salt added there.
Yeah. I think that's going down towards the 7 for me.
1.5.
I'll give into that. That's okay.
Okay. Okay.
We have
Oh, that might have been the penultimate for this class, meaning the next cheese
It was.
is the ultimate cheese. Are you ready for the ultimate cheese?
Okay, we're on F81181.
1181.
Look at her.
Okay. So this cheese is curved on one side, flat on the other. Do you know what would make this more pleasing for me? If it was turned often enough to end up getting that curved shape on both sides, to be a proper UFO shape instead of having a flat top bottom. I would love to see that improvement on this cheese. But of course, I mean, it is a beautiful cheese, and the rind is so exciting. But depth of color, the variety of color, I've got orange, yellow, black, white, and mainly this brown. Those beautiful lines going across the cheese as well. But if I were allowed to influence that cheese, and I know it's hard work to do all the turning to get exactly even, but wouldn't it be a lovelier cheese if it was that was a proper semicircle all the way around instead of having that flat, harsh corner at the bottom?
Yes, it just looks as if it's sagged, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a great shame because, as you say, it's looking very exciting from the rind. I've got an indentation, well, on the bottom. You quite easily see that it is a bottom now. So it's almost as if it sat on a bolt.
Fairly open textured.
Yeah, big difference between this is also as an appearance is quite a difference between the nose of the cheese and the inside the rind, especially on the lower corner.
Yeah. Yeah, some very dark colors just inside there. Never mind cleansing my palette. I think I needed to cleanse my hands before doing this cheese.
Yeah. Oh, that detracts from the appearance, doesn't it? Shame, because
The
it looks
shape,
an
you mean?
exciting. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think I know it's hard. I know it's hard at the end of the day to keep on doing that turning, but to get that turning balanced would really elevate this cheese.
Yes.
But I would like to knock it back a little bit because of my aesthetic desire for it to be symmetrical, top and bottom.
Well, it should be in order for it to mature evenly as well.
Yeah, yeah. So it will help all the other factors as well if that was adjusted. And as such, shall we give the appearance I mean, it's down
7.
in one way, up in another. So then it's down at our 8, which is our favorite score.
It's very exciting, as you said, in terms of everything that's going on there. Are we sticking with an 8, Danielle?
Oh, can we do a 7.5? Because
yes, we can.
if I looked at that in a cheese counter, I'd say, well, I've lost confidence because of that sagging.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now we're on to the aroma. Do you know there's a little bit of a difference in them? It's not the usual musty smell, mushroomy smell on the rind. There's a little bit more there.
A little bit more mustiness on the bottom of the cheese.
Yeah, yeah, that's back to the more earthy, hummusy type.
A very warming smell on the top, almost like bready.
Okay, I'll do your tip of cutting open the cheese to get the fresh aroma from the inside. Oh, it's so pretty.
Yes,
Look
it
at
is.
how the rind, where it goes in and out and in and out and in and out. That beautiful, beautiful.
Initial rip, though. I know we're on the smell, but the color there is the variety of color from nose to the rind is quite astonishing. Almost grey in the middle. Ooh, I like the smell of that. That's a ripe.
I think the smell of the rind does transmit throughout the whole of the cheese.
It does. Quite appealing.
What does, sorry, Kerry?
The smell of the rind transmits throughout the whole of the paste of the cheese. It's a little bit like hay.
Yeah.
So now we can do your texture.
We haven't marked the aromas yet, have we?
Oh, sorry, moving on. So aroma.
It hits an 8 for me, I think.
Yep, good. It's got a very clean break. I know you did the big rip. When I'm breaking apart my small slice, it's breaking.
There's an incredible lightness to the cheese.
The curd is really well meshed together. That's very, very good. I'm going to go on to the mouthfeel now.
I did the texture of the cheese in the mouth with some just off the nose of the cheese, and it was just really, really light. You know, as earlier we talked about the density of that cheese. This one's got
it's melting away. So for texture, I'm happy with high on that, 8.5.
8.5 is fine, yes.
And then taste for me, I think this is going to be like cheese number 2 or 3 for you, where you found you loved it, but for me it was a little bit too astringent. And that cheese 2 or 3 I found almost soapy. This one I get a little bit of that astringency as well.
I agree.
So it's not my favorite flavor.
This is too astringent, really, for me as well. There's a bitterness running through it.
Slight astringency, or is it too astringent? Sorry, guys, it's a bit.
Is right on the edge, but I'll taste some from near the rind as well.
Yeah, astringency is the only fault that I have detected.
Only slightly.
And there's a nice savory umami flavor there.
Yes. I prefer the cheese near the rind to the nose. But then
what was the difference in terms of the flavor?
There's less water by the rind, and it's less piquant, and more umami flavors there. So that's where I enjoy the cheese the most.
Yeah. So 8.75 on flavor, 8.5.
8.5, yes.
Okay. Cara, have we got any that are really close that we should look at again to make sure?
I think you will have to, just bear with me.
Oh dear.
Oh my goodness me.
That was a good class though.
Yeah.
Remarkable class, guys. And there is 1 point between 3 top cheeses.
Okay.
We're not allowed to send 5 cheeses through it.
Well, what I'd like you to do actually, you've got 1 cheese at 39.5 and 1 at 38.5. and one at 39.
When we offer.
So 1, 39, 2. Yeah, I mean, literally 1 point between 3 cheeses. Now we can send 2 cheeses through,
Okay.
but I just need you guys to be in agreement because it's so close.
Let's retaste them.
Can you please pull back out F81142?
I didn't want it to be about
1142.
that we have two of these not showing the.
That was this guy. This was the really clean, virginal,
Yes.
simple.
Yeah. And if you could pull out F81038.
I'll let you know and then we'll go into
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, maybe this one was the clean, virginal, simple one.
That's 0.5 marks between those two. So do you want to send them both through, is my
Are
question
these
to
the
you.
two potential winners?
Well, there's 0.5 between them.
All right. Let's have a look at them both again then.
These scored 39 and 39.5.
Taste is the most important thing. I'm going to have a taste of both of them again. And we'll just check that which one we think tastes the best, perhaps, aligns with which one came out top.
Get them an exact score on taste. So all I'm saying to you is you can send them both through, but just because it's been so close, I'm giving you that opportunity to send them both through or just send one through.
Which one's this one? 1038 is a little bit drier,
Mhm.
but that's still lovely.
Yes. For me, when you taste and you take the mouth texture, and you look at the salt, 1142 edges it.
Do you want to just send that one through then?
Hang on, hang on, hang on.
Oh,
One or both, guys?
to be fair, I think that they both should go through.
I'm happy with that because actually I think I prefer this one, which is 1038. You prefer 1142. So let's send them both through.
Fantastic,
Please.
guys. Thank
That's
you
made
so
two
much.
people stay now. 2 people are very happy.
Yes, well, I can confirm, thanks to you two, that the 2 joint winners of this class, F8 Goat's Milk Hard, are F81038 and F81142. So we'd like to thank Butlers for our lovely tasting aprons again this year. Thank you for the 5th time in a row of sponsoring us. We really appreciate it. And a very, very warm welcome to Miller's and their fabulous cracker sponsorship this year. Thank you for that. I really love to thank both David and Kerry for their fabulous insight into this class. It has been exceptionally close, and you've truly taken the mantle on, and really appreciate the depth of your feedback. So the 2 winners are going to go on to our category finals, which will be live on Tuesday, the 11th of June, followed closely by our grand final the following day on Wednesday, the 11th, where we will be revealing the best of British cheese along with the awards that recognise the fabulous talent and passion of the people in our industry. The day will culminate with the awards of our Supreme Champion 2025. So thank you very much, guys.
Yay.
Thank you very much.